All right, we are at it again. I was not sure whether I was going to stream the press briefing today or, oh my God, I look crazy again, or the Wisconsin election results because there is voting happening tonight in Wisconsin. Geez, this hair is becoming a distraction, guys. I'm sorry about it. Anyway, I decided I'm going to stream twice. We're doing this stream and then I'll stream again close to 9 p.m. Eastern, which is when polls close in Wisconsin. But as a result, I probably will only stream a little bit right now. We'll take questions and comments and all that stuff, and we'll do a little bit of the press conference. Then I'll probably have to stop because I've got to work on tomorrow's show, have dinner, deal with this by showering and all that type of stuff. And then I will be back for the Wisconsin results stream. Now, it's crazy that people are voting in Wisconsin. I posted earlier, look at these crowds in Wisconsin. Some people wearing masks, and there's the idea sort of socially distancing. That guy has his mask down to drink coffee, which I don't know how much the mask helps if it's around your neck. But this is crazy. I mean, we were told it's not even safe to go to the grocery store by Dr. Birx yesterday and Saturday. And yet people are mass gathering in Wisconsin and they're voting, and it's absolutely and completely bonkers. But because there is an election, I will be here. I will be here tonight again with election results, and that is what is going on. Okay, brief note. We've got a bunch of clips coming out about chloroquine and the Trump propagandizing around chloroquine. And I just to remember everybody, when I criticize Trump and others for promoting chloroquine like a miracle cure, it's not because I think chloroquine has no potential. Remember, this is not to pat myself on the back, but we started covering chloroquine 2 weeks before Trump started promoting it. We've also been talking about Ativan, remdesivir, a variety of HIV drugs, things under development. And, there's no real reason to be going crazy about one of them. It's causing shortages of the drug for people using it for approved conditions, et cetera, et cetera. So, but one thing I want to make clear, there's now a story that the explanation of Trump for Trump promoting chloroquine is merely that he has a financial interest in it. I want to warn progressives not to go down this route. The story for me is, number one, Novartis, which is one of the manufacturers, paid Michael Cohen $1 million for consulting, which means access to Trump. They make chloroquine. That I would be looking at. A lot of the people around Trump are connected to companies that make it. Trump owns, through a trust, which invests in a mutual fund, which has 2.9% of that fund in Sanofi. It's possible Trump has a few $100s worth of Sanofi through this mutual fund. I don't think that's the right approach. Trump's promotion of this as a miracle cure is wrong for many reasons, but I just don't think it makes sense to go after him for a few $100. The guy, whether he has 4 billion or 1 billion, whatever, Trump is wealthy enough that he's not going to be making decisions based on a few $100s in stock. So I don't think that that's really the right approach for us on the sane side of the equation, so to speak. Okay, so we got that out of the way. All right, let's get an update on the latest numbers. The latest official global numbers are now 1.4 million cases. The real number, we don't know. Deaths is now 81,500. Huge number. We will soon be in the double digits. Yesterday, there were a total of 73,000 new cases and over 5,000 deaths. Today, so far, we are at 73,000 new cases, and it's still early, and nearly 7,000 deaths. Once again, the worst day today. Yesterday in the U.S., we had 30,000 new cases and 1,255 deaths. Today, so far, we are already at nearly 1,700 deaths. Updated numbers in the United States, 391,000 official cases, 12,561 deaths. Still, New York and New Jersey, big epicenters. However, Michigan now closing in on 20,000 cases. California and Louisiana have passed 15,000. Pennsylvania and Florida and Massachusetts and Illinois are right there. Updated model from IHME. The latest update says that we are 9 days from the peak. Remember that the peak is really more of a plateau that will last a while. The peak deaths on April 16th now expected to be 3,100. If you look at this model, you will see that there is a period of from the 7th until the 26th. That's 19 days during which there will be more than 2,000 deaths. So when we talk about a peak, we're really talking about almost a 3-week period during which there will be many, many deaths. The latest update on total deaths in this wave is 81,766, with a sort of confidence interval saying it will be somewhere between 49 and 136,000 deaths. That's wave one. Remember, we're expecting a second wave in the fall when flu season comes back and a third wave in 2021. So these numbers are by August 4. So these are just wave one projections. Okay, so that's the latest update in terms of the model. We are standing by for the White House Coronavirus Task Force press briefing. If you're just joining me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, I will remind you that this will be a shorter stream because I will be back for a second stream tonight for the Wisconsin Democratic primary results and some other actual important races. Again, I'm against anybody voting there today, but they are voting. So I will bring you the results. One other thing, just as a funny thing, I did steal from my girlfriend. I don't know what kind of brush you call this. I've never used a brush like this before. I'm considering teasing my hair with this. Maybe if we get to, our 25 website member goal during the stream, I will consider teasing my hair with this. People yesterday suggested that I do it. I have the brush. It's an incredible brush. I mean, it's one of the best brushes I've seen in the sense that it's the only one. And I will consider teasing. I mean, it's like, who cares? I'm going to shower after this before tonight's stream anyway. So the brush is here. All right. The brush is here. And a lot of concern. If you look at my subreddit at davidpakman.com/Reddit, you will see a lot of concern for my disheveled appearance yesterday. I'm just not shaving or cutting my hair. That's all. I feel fine for the time being, knock on wood, and all of that stuff. But that's where we are right now. Okay. Thank you very much. I am not going to do bingo today. The link still works. The link from yesterday's bingo page still works, but because it's going to be an abbreviated stream for me, because I've got to go and work on tomorrow's show, shower, dinner before the nighttime stream, feel free to play bingo. I am not going to do bingo because it's unlikely that I can stay through the end of the question period. Now, one question about tonight is whether we will see Donald Trump's new press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany. We'll get to that momentarily, okay? I'm going to get to some super chats before I do that. Let me say thanks to Sean Mahoney. Sean is new member number 1 today at joinpakman.com. Very much appreciate your support, Sean. Okay, super chats. Send yours. Kristen Swanson grabs a YouTube membership. Waffles Giraffles says, hair emergency intervention press conference incoming. Per Tiran says, young Einstein hair. McNarly says, FYI, bonus show is up today, but not the full show. We know. Kowalski from Nebraska says, David looking more like Cody from Some More News. Amber White says, I have info, 2 nurses from different counties in Florida, that the numbers are wrong. Clinics are paying to keep deaths out of the news. Also, paperwork changed. Okay, I don't know about that, but feel free to email me information. Snavasic says, I'm fortunate enough to live in a small town in Wisconsin, no more than 3 people voting at a time, pandemic or not. Got in, got out, sanitized. Terrible for more populated areas. Very much so. Very much so. Stephen Strobel says, Pakman, thanks for working nonstop to provide excellent coverage and smart analysis of the nonstop flurry of info. You make it easier to stay updated. Thank you. HSDTE says, you could have easily won counterclaims against those DMCA claims against you. Oh, we're fighting every one of them. We're fighting every one of them. Per Tiran says, I think that he promotes that medication because that is the longest word that he can almost vocalize. Yeah, but Trump has to pause. Trump will say hydroxychloroquine. He can't say the entire thing together, I've noticed. Charlie says, if you had to pick either Stephen Miller or Pence as your roommate, who do you choose? The apartment is very small. Probably Pence. He seems more docile. That would be probably my choice. Ollie says, in the UK, only deaths that occur in a hospital are counted. I don't know that to be true, but I'll research that. Carolina Altamirano says, hey, you cool cats and kittens. Deb Kemper has grabbed a YouTube membership. Kike says, any thoughts on Trump removing stimulus watchdog? We've got a big story on that tomorrow, so I don't want to preempt. I don't want to self-cuck and preempt my story tomorrow. So I'm going to wait on discussing that in more detail. Let me say thank you to British Lass for subscribing with Twitch Prime. AC has gifted 2 subscriptions on Twitch, and C. Cheney has also subscribed with Prime. Very much appreciated. Okay, this is Donald Trump's new press secretary. Now, you might say, who was his last press secretary? And you would be right to ask about that, because his last press secretary, Stephanie Grisham, never did a briefing. The last briefing was early March of 2019. It's been 13 months since the last briefing. Stephanie Grisham has come and gone. This is Donald Trump's new press secretary. Take a listen to this insanity.
Looking at the coronavirus and the president saying, look, we're not going to take people in from China right now. I mean, isn't it just a matter of protecting us, our national security really being at stake? And he's sort of the last line of defense there, or first line, right. I should say.
Absolutely. This president will always put America first. He will always protect American citizens. We will not see diseases like the coronavirus come here. We will not see terrorism come here. And isn't that refreshing when contrasting it with the awful presidency of President Obama?
Right. So she now is the press secretary. OK, so in general, this would be the type of incoherent rant that would get you. It would be career ending. Right. If the world was fair and actions had consequences that were precise, I guess I would say, well balanced, she would now no longer be able to get any kind of job in the public eye. Instead, she's rewarded by becoming the press secretary of the president of the United States. Everything's backwards. OK, everything is completely backwards. Let me see what else I had here for you. Let me see if we have an update from Trump on today's press conference. Nope, nothing there. Let me see if there's anything on my Twitter page. Oh, yeah. So this is yesterday. People were very, very concerned about my hair, and it continues to get worse, and it probably will. I posted the video I just played for you. Oh, and here is today's stream. OK. All right. So we're good as far as that goes. And we are standing by for the Donald Trump press conference at the top of the hour. Let me also say thank you to GameRex for gifting 5 community subscriptions over on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, please do me the favor of hitting that like button and hit the subscribe button. Both are key. They cost nothing, and they personally help me. They really do. Okay. Christine Kinsella sends a super chat. Joe Krockenberg says a lot of grocery store workers will end up sick. Undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. Zesty African says, how do you have so much drip? It's genetic, I think. I think it's genetic. Let me see here. Amin El Rifai says, I'm quite surprised you didn't butcher my name yesterday. Thank you. Zappagog says, ladies and gentlemen, please remember to slap the snot out of that like button. Exactly. John the Fourth says, voted in Milwaukee today. It's a complete disaster. Agree with you. Tiffany Jane says, thankful to be able to work from home. So I grabbed a membership the other day. Longtime watcher, wondering if you keep in touch with Lewis. Absolutely. Lewis and I and a couple other elementary school friends had a Zoom hangout the other day. Lewis recommended a video game to me called Baba Is You. And because things are so crazy, I'm actually playing a video game. And that video game is called, something's wrong with my earphone here. That game is called Baba Is You, and it's quite a good game. It's difficult. It's a difficult puzzle game, but I am enjoying it. Okay, let me very briefly go over to Twitch and just see what the general vibe is in the chat. A lot of people arguing with Hassan Piker's viewers. I don't know what that has to do with anything. People like the game Baba Is You. Some people asking me to stream Baba Is You. A lot of people asking me to stream Baba Is You. And I might like The Witness, someone suggests, and a lot of people saying hello. Okay, very good. Well, I love checking in with everybody, and appreciate everybody who's been following on Twitch. And we will be streaming tonight on Twitch as well. If you're just joining us, I will be here for part of today's press briefing. Then I have to do all sorts of preparation, including dealing with my hair, because we've got another stream tonight for the Wisconsin Democratic primary and other results. Thanks to No Flow Faux Show for grabbing a Twitch Prime subscription as well. Okay, other super chats continuing to come in. Martin Person has subscribed on YouTube. Cameron Pratt says, have you seen the channel Bad Empanada? No, I have not. Michael 23 says, yeah, no coronavirus in the US, all right. 391,000 confirmed cases, 3 times more than anyone, according to the Roy Lab stat stream. Brandon Diamond says, hey, love from Canada. Thanks, Brandon. Vardant says, thank you for always being straightforward when you know you have a bias, but I appreciate you being blunt. Yes, indeed. Erdem One says, thanks, David. Great job. And Make It Simple says, please stream that game Lewis recommended. I'll think about that. Matthias Vargas says, I'm a nurse and the 3D printed face masks they're giving us break after a few uses. I've read that, and that is not good. That is very, very not good. We are standing by for the top of the hour, at which time we are expecting Donald Trump. Although yesterday he was 45 minutes late, we have no live video yet from the room. We will also keep an eye on Donald Trump's Twitter feed. Sometimes he will push things back up to 45 minutes like he did yesterday. Nothing so far, but we are standing by. Does anybody know if there is any live feed right now in the room? PBS and C-SPAN are not live in the room. And I always prefer to be live in the room. Well, you can let me know. And if people are looking to play bingo today, you can, moderators are pasting the link to the bingo page. And you can find it there. I won't be playing today because it'll be an abbreviated session for me. Let's see here. Is there anybody live in the room? Washington Post was live earlier. Okay, let me see if I can grab that and pull it up, and then we're going to continue. Washington Post coronavirus live. Let's take a look here. Here we go. Washington Post is indeed live in the room, so let's go over to that. Always like to keep an eye on the hijinks taking place in the room. There we go. Still doing something. I wonder what that's apparently dealing with some kind of lighting or something like that. Very interesting. Okay, let me very briefly say, so yesterday I tried this and it really worked well. So I'm going to continue doing it. I'm going to limit my enticements to get a website membership to just one. Okay, here's my very short pitch. Everything we do is mostly funded by memberships at joinpacman.com. That's me being very, very straight with you. In March, 389 people canceled memberships. That's a lot for us. We've never had so many people cancel. And I get why. We all know why, right? Unemployment may hit 20%. People are working reduced hours, layoffs, etc. We've already had several dozen people cancel in April. So my goal is we don't want to have to impact any staff or contractor hours. We want to just keep riding things out. Now, unfortunately, YouTube revenue is down 35%. Again, in total, more than 400 people have canceled. I don't want your last $2. But if it's affordable for you to support us at $2 a month or $20 for the year, which is like $1.84 a month, go to joinpacman.com and get a membership. The coupon code 2020NOW saves you 66%. Don't feel obligated to take it, but take it if you want. Those memberships are what is kind of fighting this huge decline that we've experienced, plus the 35% decline on YouTube, because YouTube uses a barter system. If more advertisers want to advertise, the price of an ad gets bid up and we make more money. When fewer advertisers are looking to advertise, ads are cheaper. We split that with YouTube, it goes down. So joinpacman.com is the place. The website resources have been doubled since last week because sometimes things would crash when I mentioned this on stream. So that is my suggestion. And I appreciate everybody who's been signing up. Okay, they are unveiling the televisions in advance of the stream, and we will see how late Donald Trump is today. Let me say thanks to Kurt Wells, who says, just grabbed a yearly subscription. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Kurt. Mary Allen has grabbed a YouTube subscription. Diane Marzani says, I'm a real estate agent in Tucson. I miss hugging my kids. Thanks for hanging with us. I have very close friends in Tucson, and I've been there many times. Look forward to being back again someday. Jose de Luna says, my smallish hometown is underreported, with the Texas health websites taking 5 days to update case numbers. Wonder if other localities have the same problem. I would assume so. We are hearing a lot of that. Hearing a lot of that. Ian says, did you hear about Mercedes Carrera going to jail? I did. Mercedes Carrera is a gamer porn star that I interviewed years ago during the Gamergate fiasco. And I guess her real name is like something Smith, like Pam Smith, or I don't remember exactly. And she, I guess she was like accused of sex trafficking or something. Anyway, that was a weird phase in the David Pakman show. People asking if I'm ready for Passover. I mean, to the extent that I'll go and buy the chocolate-covered marshmallows and chocolate-covered matzah, I'm ready. But I'm not going to be going to a Seder this year because it's not safe. And Passover is all but completely canceled. All but completely canceled. And it is what it is, my friends. No, I'll have to get my matzo ball soup at Michael's Deli in Brookline rather than at a Passover Seder. Joe Krockenberg says, will places get sued for not protecting employees? Anything is possible at this point. Daniel Krieger says, Trump just removed the COVID-19 funding watchdog. I will have a full report about that for you tomorrow, my friends. Christine Kinsella says, just got Galaxy series. Great suggestion. Thank you. Yes. Very, very good. Okay. Excellent. A few other super chats. Zesty African has signed up at the soy boy level. Christian Burgell says, I live in Orlando. Last week, most of the stores were not allowing X amount of people. This week, it's like everyone has forgotten about the virus. Yeah, I've seen that at a number of stores here in the Boston area, limiting the number of people, long lines outside, socially distanced lines with pieces of tape. It's a dystopian, surreal circumstance, but it is what it is. And we're all just living in it. We're all just living in it. Jimmy D says, greetings from Switzerland, enjoying the stream as always. Thanks, Jimmy. Very much appreciate that. Kamala Reichert says, watched a clip from Korea where someone took Tylenol to bypass a checkpoint. Checking for fever is not as safe now. Listen, when 20 to 50% of people never have symptoms, checking for fever, Trump says we've been screening. It's almost meaningless, especially when, as you're suggesting, you can just take Tylenol to get around screening. Mascot says, some strong news anchor hair today. Yeah, very, very much so. Ashley Pearson says, David, I admire how articulate you are. Do you have any advice on developing or practicing this skill for those of us that don't have it? Not really. I mean, I think just putting yourself in positions where you have to think on your feet is the best thing. When I was, how old was I? When I was 16, 17, I got a job at the now defunct Circuit City, and I became a salesperson on commission where I was selling warranties and products, very strong products, exciting products of different kinds. And I needed to be able to, talk to all sorts of different people and answer questions, thinking on my feet. And I think that is what got me comfortable, just kind of winging it, I guess is what I would say. Split Clips says, David, any truth to Novartis paying Michael Cohen for access to Trump in 2018? Yeah, we have a report about that today, already filmed. It's in the can, as we like to say. It's publishing later. That is my understanding of what happened. Vardant says, Virtual Seder, also awesome metal band name. Yeah, I like that. Oh, in fact, Seder reminds me, Sam Cedar was texting me earlier today, and we were supposed to catch up. But I don't know if we're going to have time today between this stream and then the 9 p.m. Wisconsin results stream. I don't know. Michelle Weisblatt-Dane says Deutsche Bank owns Teva Pharma. Teva Pharma owns chloroquine. Deutsche owns Trump. I can prove it. Here's the thing, guys. Chloroquine is generic. So tons of companies make it. Novartis makes chloroquine. Bayer makes chloroquine. Teva makes chloroquine. Sanofi makes chloroquine. That's why any theory, and I'm using the term theory colloquially, not scientifically, any theory about chloroquine conflicts of interest, remember that it's generic. It's been around since, I believe, 1934. Tons of people make chloroquine. And just, I want everybody to bear that in mind. Let me say thank you to, hold on a second. The Lord Diabolus for subscribing on Twitch. Heard about it, subscribed, and says, can you shout out Katie at the CDC? She's working hard and watches your streams. Katie at the CDC, thank you for your work. Follow people who are actually doctors and scientists. Don't be bullied by people like Donald Trump. Thank you, Katie at the CDC. Irish Slims has subscribed with Prime. Uwe Grach has subscribed with Prime. The Best Data has subscribed with Prime. AB Nurse has subscribed on Twitch. 24 Pounds has subscribed on Twitch. Keep Rollin', 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 Yo has also cheered. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. Okay, let me say a few thank yous now. It is that time where it is time to start thanking people who have signed up on my website. Let's see here. I want to say thank you to Kareem Ayari, who is new member number 2 at joinpacman.com. Michelle Alcazar is new member number 3. Kurt Wells is new member number 4. Let me see here. Breck Wood is new member number 5 at joinpacman.com. Thank you, Breck. Griffin Hughes is new member number 6 today at joinpacman.com. Rebecca Rayburn Cooper, you are new member number 7, Rebecca. Callahan Fitzgerald, it's like 2 last names almost, I like it, is new member number 8 today. Ty McConnell is new member number 9. Shane Harvey Walker is new member number 10. Chase Malefato is new member number 11. Alexander Schofield is new member number 12 today. Tanya Clark is new member number 13 today. Shane Hearing is new member number 14. Thanks, Shane. Gideon Hamburger, not hamburger, Hamburger. Gideon Hamburger is new member number 15 today. Daniel Colavecchio is new member number 16. Martin Collins, you are new member number 17 today. Eileen Rader, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is new member number 18. Sandy Page, you are number 19. Abdel Alsnayan, maybe, is new member number 20. Justin Olson is number 21. And Carolina Altamirano is number 22. Just as a reminder, this is kind of a joke, okay? But it's not a joke also. I stole my girlfriend's hairbrush. I've never used a hairbrush like this before. If we get to 25 members, which we are very close to, we'll just see what happens. I'll tease my hair with this hairbrush, and I think it'll be a moment of levity, a moment of zen, so to speak, that will be very memeable and gifable. And I think a lot of people will enjoy it really, really strongly. Okay, Donna Williams says, thank you for your hard work. Sorry, Donna's message disappeared. Thank you for your hard work from Southern California. I was scheduled to go to Southern California very soon, and I was scheduled to do some very exciting things there, right? You know what I'm talking about. But now it's not clear when it's going to happen. Christopher Hellstrom says, would be interesting to get your take on Sweden's take on the outbreak. I don't know that much about what's been going on in Sweden, to be perfectly frank. Riette says, what's the deal with the report on Huffington Post that Trump has trust with investment into hydroxychloroquine company? Listen, it looks like Trump owns maybe a few $100s of one of the many companies that make chloroquine. I think it's a bad move for the left to focus on that. Trump's behavior regarding chloroquine has been irresponsible for reasons totally unrelated to his stake in that company. Diane Marzani says, I am a member of Toastmasters in Tucson. It has done wonders for me. Yeah, once I went to Boston Toastmasters. It's an interesting public speaking organization. Joe Krockenberg says, my company Publix made $4.6 billion in profits last year, isn't even giving us hazard pay or limiting customers. Many stores have cases already. Horrible. So sorry to hear that, Joe. Kaylin Brooks says, hey, David, how is this pandemic affecting prisons? There are multiple prisons that have cases, and it's affecting. I mean, it's a nightmare, people in close quarters, and very problematic. Tuna Metallica says, hey, David, which is superior to you? Chocolate babka, black and white cookie, or chocolate rugelach? Chocolate babka. Chocolate babka. Here's my list of, let me give you guys the top desserts, okay? And I consider chocolate babka a dessert. I want to make sure I don't miss any of these because I have a very specific list of what the top desserts are. Here are the top desserts. Chocolate babka, okay? Flan with dulce de leche. I'm Argentinian. You have to anticipate that would be here. Flan is a top dessert. A good tiramisu, okay? Pistachio baklava. I think those are the best 4 desserts. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, yeah, and halva. I love halva, but I consider it more of a snack than a dessert. It's, we're really kind of slicing and dicing here, but those I believe are essentially the best desserts I've had. There's one other that's more of a niche dessert, which is, it's a, what would you call it? I don't know what the name of it is, but it's a chocolate. It's like a little round chocolate cake that inside has hot melted chocolate. You understand what I'm saying? And when you kind of cut into it, you get a little bit of that hot chocolate. It's fantastic. Fantastic dessert. Oh, that is lava cake. I did forget one other dessert. Mochi. Mochi is very, 5 years ago, if you had asked me, who had even heard of mochi 5 years ago, to quote Donald Trump? But mochi is rapidly becoming one of my favorite desserts as well. Okay, let me thank a few other people here. Dominic Caro is new member number 23. Jacob Nicholson is new member number 24. Ogun Cano is new member number 25. On that note, let's go for 50, my friends. Why not? Angela Castles is new member number 26. Dominic Lehman is new member number 27. Diane Marzoni or Marzoni is new member number 28. Ivan Miranda is new member number 29. Also want to say thank you to Simon Person, who's new member number 30. Graham Scarlett is number 31. David Chalk is new member number 32. And Michael Gavin is new member number 33. All right. I promised I would do it at someone's suggestion yesterday. I did get a brush from my girlfriend. And I'm just, as we're waiting, I'm going to try teasing the hair a little bit just to see what happens. Let's do it. I said I would do it. Oh, this is not good. It's creating some kind of a static response, it looks like. I think it's actually making the lights flicker here. It's really not bad, actually. It does seem to be kind of smoothing it out in a certain way. Let me see here. I don't know if this is better or worse, but I can kind of wrap around the side there. Yep. I think this is good. I think this helps, guys. I'm not actually, I'm kind of being serious. Okay. I actually think that it's better. I think it's better. But I can run my hands through it now in a beautiful way. Oh, people are saying it's worse. Okay. Also, people are saying that doesn't count as teasing. I guess I don't really know what that means. What does it mean to tease it? Anyway, we did it. I think we're good. This is completely under control now. I think I'm going to be using this live on during the show going forward. Maybe is teasing going like this? That's not helping at all. Yeah, that's actually really bad. All right, let's just pull it back and then we're going to get back to super chats and stuff like that. There we go. This is crazy. Okay. I'm going to have to backcomb it for more height. Yeah, that's an idea. I think we have to stop. I have, brush towards the root. Okay. Listen, guys, I've never used a brush before. I clearly don't know what I'm doing. Okay, listen, if we get to 50 website members, I will do a back comb and we'll see what happens. But for the time being, I think we're going to put the comb down. All right. We are standing by for a press briefing from Donald Trump. We don't know if it has been delayed. He says 5:30. Okay, so we're about 13 minutes. Very good. Yesterday it was delayed 45 minutes. Today it looks like it's only a 15-minute delay, a 30-minute delay. I also have installed an element, I guess I would call it, called Volume Master, because a lot of these briefings have extremely low native sound levels. And I've installed Volume Master, and it worked beautifully yesterday. So we're going to be able to get a good audio signal. I'm convinced during today's stream. Okay. Suffragium says, thank you, David and crew. Appreciate your sharing your educated knowledge. Stay healthy and stay safe out there. Thank you, Suffragium. I appreciate it. Thanks to Space Chase. Dried Mangoes says, my wife Jojo says your stay-home hair game is strong. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Coy Riley has grabbed a YouTube membership. Inconsolable says, I'm not a Bernie should get out of the way type of guy, but when news came out that Wisconsin was going ahead with the election, shouldn't Bernie have dropped out to save lives? Listen, the reality is that there were a lot of other elections happening today in Wisconsin. So it's not really, I think Bernie's done, but it's not just a Bernie issue. There's a judgeship under election. There's a lot going on. And to just blame Bernie, I think would not be fair. It would not be fair. The Apprentice 007 says, why are we still here? Just to suffer? Yeah, to suffer and boredom, basically. Dean Oldfield has grabbed a Soy Boy level subscription. Where did that go? Dream of the 90s says, lost my Uncle David to the Rona this morning. He had been on a ventilator for a week. My condolences. So sorry to hear that. At this point, almost everyone, it's gone from knowing someone who has it to knowing someone who's serious. And unfortunately, more and more people knowing someone who has passed away. Really sorry to hear that. And every single one of these deaths, extremely sad, extremely, extremely sad. Increasingly, we're seeing people in the coronavirus press briefing room wearing not only gloves, but also we're seeing more masks there. We are wondering whether Donald Trump's new press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, will be trotted out along with Donald Trump today and maybe even left to field questions. We talked about her earlier this week. She now is Trump's new press secretary. And Trump's last press secretary, Stephanie Grisham, did absolutely no press briefings at all. So we don't even know if Kayleigh McEnany is going to do press briefings. We just have no idea, but we will soon see. Rasmus Haymaker says, what are conspiracy theories you've heard about yourself? Let's see. Conspiracy theories. I was once featured in a documentary about gay teenagers who had sadly committed suicide. And I had to issue a statement through my representatives that I was not a teenager. I think I was 27 at the time. I was not gay. I had not been bullied, and I was alive. So that was a really weird conspiracy about me. You can find that on my YouTube channel. We've got a number of clips about that. Generally, there are conspiracies that, Soros funds my show, the DNC funds my show, etc. Israel funds my show. And the truth is, you guys fund my show. People like, let me thank some of those people. People like Jeff Colin fund my show, who is new member number 34. People like Timmy Peterson funds my show, who is new member number 35. Raymond funds my show, who is new member number 36. Jose Barrios funds my show. He's new member number 37. Alexander Kaltenborn is new member number 38. Lindsay Joel is new member number 39. Kevin Valance is new member number 40. and Suzanne Brown is new member number 41. These are the people who fund my show. Not George Soros, not Israel or the DNC or anything like that. Okay, let me say thank you to CR4ID, who has subscribed with Twitch Prime. Silent Night has subscribed with Prime. And Skyline 5 GTR has subscribed with Prime as well. Thank you very much. What do you guys think is going on in the ceiling that they've been modifying? I have this crazy idea. Tell me if you think this is a crazy idea. I'm wondering if there is lighting being modified so that it is more, what would be the word, complementary to Trump's new press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany. Is that a completely crazy conspiracy theory to think that they are modifying the lighting to suit her better and Trump is going to trot her out? Is that completely out of school to suggest that that may be it? Oh, people are saying it's not a crazy idea. Interesting. We'll see. We'll see if they trot her out. Okay, Dan Crin has sent a super chat. Private Schmuckatelli says, Bernie, Logic and Civics K through 12, please. Young Reckless has sent a super chat. Dan Crin says, hey, David, any thoughts on big cats in the Bronx Zoo testing positive for COVID-19? I assume you mean the Bronx Zoo. I don't really have any thoughts other than some people went nuts saying, did testing a tiger take a test away from a human? And we were told the answer is no, that these are totally separate tests and that was not a factor. If you're joining us on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, the 5 p.m. Eastern Time press briefing has been rescheduled to 5:30. We are now 7 minutes from that. I will be here for part of it, but I have to run early today because I'm coming back tonight for a Wisconsin election results stream. 2 streams today, plus the broadcast show. So I'm going to need to take a little time in between to work on tomorrow's show, have dinner, deal with this, and all that type of thing. If you're joining me on YouTube, please do me the favor of hitting the like button and the subscribe button. Like and subscribe, both very, very much appreciated. Justin Tierney has grabbed a YouTube membership. Samantha Marks says, thanks for the crazed hair. It gives me a smile every day when I join you. Much appreciated. Yeah, who knows how long it's going to last? I have a feeling it could be a while. Okay, let's see here. Alex Jones says, Dave Rubin said the rise of socialism caused the coronavirus. He has called you a liar repeatedly. What are your thoughts? I'm only aware of Dave Rubin calling me a liar once, and it was during an event a year or more ago. And I have no idea who he takes money from, and if he called me a liar multiple times, I'd be interested in seeing the video, but I'm only aware of him saying that once. Porthole says, will Trump supporters ever see this as a disaster? No. Forget about it. The answer is no. Jonas Felix says, from Switzerland, do you think there will be many with symptoms not seeking a doctor due to fear from healthcare costs and even continuing to work due to fear of job loss? Could it drive U.S. infections? Yes, and it's probably already happening, realistically. Astrocomical says, what would be U.S. sentiment if Trump died of COVID? Someone asked me that yesterday. I have no idea. I truly don't know. I mean, listen, I don't want anyone to die of COVID, no matter who it is. I don't wish death upon anyone. That's my view. Okay, let me say a few other thank yous. Mark Kiddo is new member number 42 today. Suzanne Brown is new member number 43 today. Very much appreciate your support. And if indeed we get to 50 members before this starts, I will back comb my hair with this crazy brush. I already did a front comb, which didn't make it too crazy. I am willing to go the opposite direction against the grain, so to speak, as we wait for this to start. Erythropathak says, between the browns, such as myself, and the blacks, which group is the bigger eyesore in Boston? That's an extraordinarily racist and disgusting question, which I would never take seriously because I reject it on principle. Zesty African says, why does Jimmy Dore criticize Bernie as if he was a majority leader wielding tons of power? I have no idea. I've not seen a clip of Jimmy Dore for, I don't even know. I mean, look up on my YouTube channel the last time I talked about Jimmy. That's the last time I saw a clip of his show. I don't know anything about it. Zach Nichols says, David, as a Wisconsinite, I was lucky to get my mail-in ballot on time. Do you have any idea why Republicans would want to keep our election today? Well, I think it has to do with a judgeship, a judge's race that's taking place in Wisconsin. I'm going to get caught up. I'm going to review all of the elements of the races happening there before tonight's live stream. I will be streaming results tonight out of Wisconsin. Fuba44 says, watching YouTube all night, no issues. This stream 460p. I don't know. Everything seems fine on our end, and we are streaming in HD. Streaming in HD, my friends. Skunk Games says, as a bald man, I've never been more jealous. Yeah, my brother's actually bald. It's crazy. He lost his hair around age 20, and somehow I have this. I just don't know. I don't know. Shadow Louise has grabbed a YouTube membership. James Dorn says, is there a way to combat people who are just smart enough that they think they're intelligent? For example, Fox News Trump supporters. Obviously, it's a problem for all political parties in the U.S. I've not found a way to combat it. From an electoral perspective, the way to combat it is don't even argue with them. Just try to get the voters to turn out, because half the country doesn't vote. If you're saying, how can you actually change the mind of an individual like that, who's just smart enough? Actually, let me see if I have this video. I have a video clip of someone who fits that description perfectly. Let me see if I can find it. I believe it was on yesterday's show. Let me take a look here. Yes. Okay, here we go. This is an example of a woman who has just enough cognitive capacity to kind of like memorize talking points, but she's an absolute loon, and there's no bringing her back from this. Okay, take a listen to this.
Driving out of this Ohio parking lot is a woman who just attended a church service with dozens of other people, including children.
Can I ask you about your decision to go to church, to be inside that building?
I wouldn't be anywhere else.
Aren't you concerned you could infect other people if you get sick inside?
No.
People who don't go to this
No.
church.
I'm covered in Jesus' blood. I'm covered in Jesus'
But what
blood.
about other people who don't go to this church who you might encounter?
All of these people go to this church.
No, but you're going to be in places where other people
I go to
are.
the grocery store every day. I'm in Walmart,
What?
Home Depot, all of those
But you
people.
could get them sick from what happens in
They
the
could
church.
get me sick, but they're not because I'm covered in his blood. Thank you very much.
So that's what we call weaponized. Honestly, I don't even know what we call that. It's idiocy. It's idiocy. But again, it's someone who she's just enough of a quick thinker and articulate enough that she believes she's making sense, and you're never going to talk her out of it. Like, there is no talking sense into that person. And so, you know, you're absolutely right, James. Absolutely right. Let's see. Baby Grib says we could send you a MAGA hat. That's okay. Matt Chavez says, please contact and do something with Brian Tyler Cohen. I've heard of him. I don't know much about him, but I've heard of him. Basty Dragon says, thank you for all the work you and your team do. The briefing streams give me life. Thank you. Stephen Kenneth Bennell II says, who should now lead the progressive movement? I should. I should lead the progressive movement. Thank you. KWB says, clearly all of these donators and subs are Soros funded. Yeah, super chats are actually covers. They are actually Soros people. Okay, let me say thank you to Elliot Wolfson. Elliot Wolfson has just signed up for what we call the big boy. That's the $480 a year membership. That's the biggest one that we have, as Donald Trump would say. Elliot, thank you. We don't have that many members at that level. Really appreciate your support. Eric Kaplan is new member number 45 today. Ola Ayeko is new member number 46. Augie Doggy is new member number 47. And Steven Sampson is new member number 48. Because it seems like the press briefing may start soon, I'm going to do the reverse combing now, just because people asked for it, okay? I haven't been able to get a haircut for months. let's just see what happens if I do a reverse comb. Okay, here we go. It doesn't actually, not that much seems to be happening. It's just kind of flattening my hair. It's kind of like a Beatles look. I can't even see a damn thing now. So that's reversed comb. And I don't think that that's really doing too much for me. Man, it's like, oh my God. This is almost like some kind of Justin Bieber look. Imagine if this was my new haircut. Yeah, it's like a Tom DeLonge sort of thing. How weird is that? I guess it's kind of emo, right? Is this like, it's, I've never used a brush like this before. It's very, very different. It's very, very different. All right, but I don't really, this is not going well. I don't really like it, but I think we're going to go back to this. There we go. Now, what happens if I reverse comb the sides? Yeah, it's just not working, guys. I don't think it really does anything. I don't think it does anything. Oh, a 50-50. Is that back on one side and then up on the other? Let's see. Yeah. I just don't think it's working. I actually think I might need an exorcism because it's just not, I'm going to have to do something for the stream tonight because it's just not good. It's just not good. I think I'm going to leave it like this for now. And then later I'll see if I'm able to get anything. Let's see. Yep. All right. It's done. I guess. So we did that experiment and it's over. So now we will get back to the serious stuff, my friends. Oh my God. I gained 500 viewers while I was doing that. Can you imagine? That's crazy. Oh, people are saying I'm brushing it the wrong way, that I'm brushing it like you would brush a dog's hair. I've never used one of these brushes before. I don't know what the right way is. Okay. People demanding I shave my head out of respect for my bald brother. That maybe. Alex Espinoza with a Spanish super chat says, "Saludos desde Tijuana, Mexico. Greetings from Tijuana in Mexico." Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Stephen Kenneth Bennell II says, "What's your current relationship with Dave Rubin?" Non-existent. Let me see. I can tell you the date that we last texted. Oh, hey, Matt, my friend Matt Steinberg has notified me that he is only watching the briefings to see my hair. You know, I had a call today with my YouTube rep. And by the way, I have to tell you, I say so many horrible things about YouTube. My YouTube rep, I have a new YouTube rep. He's been fantastic. We had a long call today. He praised my streams. He said that at YouTube, his whole team is aware of the daily streams I've been doing and how I've been building community. And we have thousands of people that are here every day watching, and they just love it. And YouTube is actually being really supportive, asking how people are doing with the virus and all of that stuff. Okay. My last, okay. When did I last talk to Dave Rubin? I will tell you right now. I last spoke to Rubin, June 23rd of 2018, privately, okay? And as many of you know, when I was out in LA for, it was a perfect phone call at the time. When I was out in LA for Politicon, there was like a Twitter spat where I had asked him if I could go on and we could, clear the air. And he said he was out of town that day. But then that same day, Tucker Carlson was on, and I tweeted, "I guess you're not out of town." And he didn't like it. And, it was a whole thing. But I've not had any contact with Dave Rubin for a very long time at this point. Kobe Carlton is a soy boy on YouTube. Thank you. Unknown Prodigy says, "Put a picture of your wild hair as a free space in bingo." That's not a bad idea. Sean Garib has signed up on YouTube. Brent Hess says, "To like," oh, I lost that. Where'd that go? "To like on mobile, close live chat, hit like." Yeah. So listen, if you're trying to destroy my YouTube channel, don't do anything. Okay. And I know there's at least a few hundred of you here. If you want to help my YouTube channel, do consider hitting the like button and the subscribe button. If you are on mobile, at least on Android, I don't know if this applies on iPhone, you have to close live chat to pound like and to pound subscribe. So just be aware of that, my friends. Be aware of that. Sensible Talk says, what do you make of the Trump-Biden phone call? I don't know what to make of it. So as far as we've been told, Trump and Biden had a phone call yesterday. Biden made some suggestions to Trump. Trump said they were fair suggestions, but not necessarily suggestions that he's going to accept. And Trump said they both agreed not to disclose the specific contents of the phone call. I don't know. I mean, that's all I've read at this point in time. I don't know anything else about it. Inconsolable says, I'm pretty sure Wisconsin Republicans just want to COVID kill a bunch of Democrats voting today. I mean, that would be a horrible reality if indeed it is the case. Alexandra Stevenson says, hoping you grow out your hair during the confinement. Back bomb, DP. Distant socializing is more entertaining with bingo, quaff updates, and chess. Okay, thank you, Alexandra. Stu Guy says, if Bernie wins or comes close in Wisconsin today, do you think it could potentially swing the primary in Bernie's favor? I mean, probably not. Let me look at the polling in Wisconsin. I haven't seen what is going on there. Let's take a look at it together while we're waiting here. Okay. Wisconsin Democratic primary. The latest poll is a week old, and it had Biden plus 28. I mean, Biden plus 28. What do you mean by if Bernie can keep it close? It's hard to imagine. I don't see it. I don't see it. Skunk Games says, Soros made me send this. Travis Myers sends a super chat. Cam has signed up at the soy boy level. Make It Simple and Junior Balogun have supported. Incredibo TV says, LOL, here's $5 just because of the hair. Ardowen says, with that hair, David has transformed into Dave. Oh, let me show you guys something pretty funny. This was, someone posted this to Twitter, and I posted it to my Instagram. Check this out. I think you might like this. This is a screenshot from yesterday. Let me zoom it out. This is I don't know if you guys are familiar with Vidal Sassoon, but I have just signed a very, very lucrative deal with Vidal Sassoon. Now, the funny thing is, it's not clear if the product is supposed to fix what's going on in this picture or cause it, right? Like, it's not clear if this is a before picture, so to speak, where like, if you're having this problem, you buy this product to fix this problem, or if this is actually the goal. Like, is this the outcome of having this product? I don't really know. You would think they'd be advertising the results, right? Like, that's usually the way these products work. But anyway, yeah, that's serious. And I posted that to my Instagram page, which is david.pacman. Okay, let me thank a few other people here. Let's see, did I thank Warren? I think I did. Warren Higgins. Did I thank Warren? I don't think I did. Warren Higgins is new member number 49. And Rob Thomas, the great Rob Thomas, is new member number 50. Let's go for 75, my friends. Why not? Why not? Okay, the room is starting to fill up. We're not seeing too many masks there. Although increasingly yesterday we saw masks. Today we are not seeing too many masks. And the real question is, will we see Trump's new press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, today? As a quick reminder, this is Donald Trump's new press secretary on the left here. Take a listen to this.
Looking at the coronavirus and the president saying, look, we're not going to take people in from China right now. I mean, isn't it just a matter of protecting us, our national security really being at stake? And he's sort of the last line of defense there, or first line, right. I should say.
Absolutely. This president will always put America first. He will always protect American citizens. We will not see diseases like the coronavirus come here. We will not see terrorism come here. And isn't that refreshing when contrasting it with the awful presidency of President Obama?
Yeah, so that would be, by the way, Trish Regan is not Trump's new press secretary. Kayleigh McEnany is. This type of delusion would get you, would basically be career ending in a lot of fields. Kayleigh McEnany has gotten herself a promotion. So, make of that what you will. We have Dr. Birx entering. Her outfits getting increasingly reflective over time. We have Seema Verma, and we have Dr. Anthony Fauci. As many of you know, I have become an authoritarian Faucist as of late. Seema Verma, absolutely horrible healthcare consultant who recently said that we're terrible at coronavirus because we are not, because we are a free country, unlike South Korea. Note that South Korea is higher on the democracy index than the United States. Very, very weird. And as many of you know, Dr. Birx, or Dr. Bricks, as she was called yesterday, I don't think she can fully be trusted, recently saying that she is impressed with how Donald Trump assimilates data to make good decisions. And obviously none of us believe that. So we have, a lot of people here that we can't really trust to a great degree. Bridget Slick says, thank you for making these briefings tolerable. Thank you. Christian Bourdiel says, I've been going to a restaurant with the Big Chicken near my house, and they've been following all the guidelines, but then I go to another in a different area and no gloves or baskets. I don't know what you're talking about, Christian. I apologize. Thank you to Shoshana Grant and Theodore Caper for grabbing YouTube memberships. Christian Bourdiel says, where did that go? Shave your head and give it to your brother and have him do the show one time. Maybe one day as a goof, I will have my brother host a stream. He's working from home, so that's an idea. Dr. Birx is signaling something. She's doing a lot of this. I don't know what that means. Weird. Okay. MK Star 12 says, donate your hair. Cakis Umbra says, how many members for a bald Pac-Man? Yeah, it's going to take a lot more than 50 members to get me to shave my head. All right, let's go Donald Trump here. Remember, I'll be here not until the end because I do have to go prepare for tonight's stream.
Much. Today we continue to send our love to the great people of New York and New Jersey. We support them fully.
Whoa.
We grieve alongside every family who has lost a precious loved one. New Yorkers are tough and strong and brave. New Jerseyites are tough and strong and brave, and they're being hit very hard right now. And for the next week, hopefully not much longer than that, it's going to start to go in the other direction.
It'll be a little longer.
Our country is being hit hard, but some areas have done so incredibly well. We're so proud of them. They will beat this virus. We're going to beat it with the grit and the heart for which they're known and for which our country is known. And we appreciate everything that everybody is doing. We pray for Prime Minister Boris Johnson. He's become a great friend of ours. He loves this country. He loves his country. But he loves the USA. And he's always been very good to us. Whenever we had difficulty, he was with us, and we appreciate it. So we pray for Prime Minister Boris Johnson.
Trump's
going
praying
through a lot. As we intensify our military campaign against the virus, I think that it must be brought out that we have to thank the American people for continuing to follow our guidelines on slowing the spread, an expression that more and more people are thinking about. Nobody ever heard of it 2 months ago, and now everybody's talking about slowing the spread, stopping the spread. Even during this painful week, we see glimmers of very, very strong hope, and this will be a very painful week. And next week, at least part of next week, but probably all of it. Look, if one person dies, it's a painful week. And we know that's going to unfortunately happen. This is a monster we're fighting. But signs are that our strategy is totally working. Every American has a role to play in winning this war. And we're going to be winning it. And we're going to be winning it powerfully. And we'll be prepared for the next one, should it happen, but hopefully it won't. Our massive...
You guys hear that? It's like someone's... What's that noise? That's weird.
It's called Project Airbridge. Continued today as 5 massive planes, flights, landed in the United States packed with personal protective equipment. And our nation's heroic healthcare workers will be the beneficiaries of that. 27 more flights are scheduled in the near future over the next couple of weeks. The Army Corps of Engineers is constructing facilities that will support more than 15,000 hospital beds to treat patients in need. So they're building now approximately 15,000. They just completed the big one in New York. They just completed and are in the process of continuing in Chicago and many other places. They're incredible. The Army Corps of Engineers, we owe them a lot, what they were able to do in such a short period of time. They'll build these massive facilities, 2,000 beds in 4 days. So it's really something very special. I know I was in the construction industry, and you don't see that happen very often. I want to remind governors and emergency managers that sharing real-time data with us about equipment and their needs is very important. All of their supplies, hospital occupancy is critical. A lot of the occupancy is really getting a little bit lower than anticipated, and that's good. We sort of thought that was going to happen. And we're getting along very well with the governors. This whole situation with respect to talking to us about equipment and equipment needs, giving us a little bit of lead time, so important. All the supplies, we're getting it to everybody like they never thought possible, but will ensure that we can rapidly deploy federal assets where and when they're needed, especially on ventilators. We're actually getting some ventilators back. As you know, the state of California was great. They sent some back, which they won't need.
He does look less orange today. Could be a white balance issue.
And we have some others coming back, so we're using them in areas we need them. We are pressing forward aggressively on the scientific frontier of the medical war. The companies I've spoke to, the 4 leading I call them the genius companies. They're doing incredibly well with respect to cures and also with respect to a vaccine that's going to protect us, totally protect us. And they have some great potential. It's going to take a little while yet, but they have some great potential, some great early results. And the governor's been working hard, and we are working hard with the governors. There's been great coordination, especially over the last little while. We're giving them a lot of equipment, a lot of ventilators, but a lot of equipment of all types. And I will protect you if your governor fails. If you have a governor that's failing, we're going to protect you. But the governors are working well with us.
That's an interesting reversal, because it's really Trump failing the governors.
Today, in our stockpile of ventilators, and again, we need the stockpile so we can immediately move them from place to place wherever the monster hits. It's a monster. We have 8,675 ventilators right now in stock, ready to move. And we have all sorts of incredible soldiers. Our military is going to move them should they be needed in, as an example, if we need additional in New York or the New York City area. You have state, you have city, and spoke to Mayor de Blasio, and we really have a great, well-coordinated campaign with Mayor de Blasio. It's been really good. Spoke to Governor Cuomo. There's been great coordination. So if they need something, we have it. If Louisiana needs something, we have it. Same thing with Michigan, same thing with Illinois. There are certain spots that are very hot, and we'll see what happens, but we'll know pretty much. We'll have time, and we'll be able to move it. In addition to the 8,675 ventilators, we have 2,200 arriving on April 13th. We have 5,500 arriving on May 4th. These are ones that we're building for the most part, and we have, as you know, great companies building them. Ford, General Motors.
That may be true. We just don't know yet.
GE. We have
Could be a
really
lie.
some great companies that are doing it. On May 18th, we have 12,000. On June 1st, we have 20,000. On June 29th, we have 60,000 ventilators coming.
Now I'm starting to doubt these numbers are real.
So we have a total of 110,000 ventilators coming over a short period of time. I don't think we'll need them. Hopefully we won't need them. I don't think we'll need anywhere near them. But we'll have them for the future, and we'll also be able to help other countries who are desperate for ventilators. The UK called today, and they wanted to know would it be possible to get 200, and we're going to work it out. We got to work it out. They've been great partners, United Kingdom, and we're going to work it out for them. So they wanted 200. They needed them desperately. We now have 10 drugs in active trials. with 15 more soon to follow, as well as 2 vaccine candidates in active clinical trials. We'll do whatever it takes to secure needed medical supplies and bring more production of essential medicines back to our shores. We're doing that. We're bringing them back to our shores. A lot of these companies, they went a little bit haywire. They went away from this great country and they had them produced elsewhere. So we're going to start bringing them back. I've been talking about that for a long time, not only with medical, but lots of other things. America continues to perform more tests than any other nation in the world, and I think that's probably why we have more cases.
Not per capita.
Because when you look at some of these very large countries, I know for a fact that they have far more cases than we do, but they don't report them. We've performed 1.87 million tests to date, so that's 1,870,000 million tests. Think of that, 1,870,000 tests to date. And now we're performing them at a level that nobody's ever seen before. As we announced yesterday, CVS testing sites in Georgia and Rhode Island will be using Abbott Labs' rapid 5-minute test. We're down to now 5 minutes. It's a 5-minute test so that people can get their results back very quickly. And we're actively engaging on the problem of increased impacts. This is a real problem, and it's showing up very strongly in our data on the African American community, and we're doing everything in our power to address this challenge. It's a tremendous challenge. It's terrible. And provide support to African American citizens of this country who are going through a lot, but it's been disproportional. They're getting hit very, very hard. In fact, while we have Tony here, I'd like to maybe have you come up and address that one, and then I'll continue. But
Yeah,
if you
please
could
let a
address
doctor
that, it would be
speak.
great, Tony, please.
More data.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We have a particularly difficult problem of an exacerbation of a health disparity. We've known literally forever that diseases like diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and asthma are disproportionately afflicting the minority populations, particularly the African Americans. Unfortunately, when you look at the predisposing conditions that lead to a bad outcome with coronavirus, the things that get people into ICUs that require intubation and often lead to death, they are just those very comorbidities that are unfortunately disproportionately prevalent in the African American population. So we're very concerned about that. It's very sad. It's nothing we can do about it right now except to try and give them the best possible care to avoid those complications. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. And Tony, I think you're going to have some pretty accurate numbers over the next few days, right? But they are they're very nasty numbers, terrible numbers. In total, 1,200 Abbott machines, Abbott laboratories have been fantastic, have been shipped now nationwide. Up to 500 more are being produced every week.
Remember, yesterday he said it was 18,000 were already out. Is he now saying that it's 1,200 or is this 1,200 more? We just don't know. We have no idea.
The world has developed a more diverse and robust testing capacity than the United States. We're dealing with other nations, helping them out because the testing is very tough for them. And our tests are very accurate. A lot of tests are out there and they're not accurate at all. In fact, some of the tests, you don't have a clue what's going on. So we're working with other nations trying to get them help also. At a time when many Americans are experiencing increased stress, anxiety, and personal loss, we must also ensure that our country can meet the mental health needs of those struggling in this crisis. There are people struggling. They're struggling. And some people are getting to know each other, frankly. Some families are getting to know each other on a positive note, but there are a lot of people struggling. On Thursday, I'll be speaking to leaders and advocates from the mental health organizations all across our country. And we are going to be talking about resources and tools that we'll make available to them. They need help. And it's a big problem. When you take something where it was the most successful country in the world, still is, the whole world is shut down. Think of it, we're down to numbers that are incredible. As I said yesterday, I think it's 182 countries right now. 182 countries are under attack by the scourge.
Scourge.
by this virus. But as we wage medical war on the virus, we're also speeding economic relief to our people. It's incredible. We just had a meeting that was absolutely incredible with
Exciting
the banks. I spoke with leaders in the banking and finance industry about our efforts to help American workers and employers. As of today, small business has processed more than $70 billion in guaranteed loans and will provide much needed relief for nearly 250,000 businesses already. So we are going to be providing tremendous amounts of money to the small businesses of our country who have been absolutely clobbered. And they'll be keeping open, and they'll be paying their employees, and they'll be all set to go. We're going to have a rocket upward. I want to thank David Solomon, CEO of Goldman Sachs, Brian Moynihan, CEO of Bank of America, Gordon Smith, co-president, COO of J.P. Morgan Chase, Charles Scharf, CEO of Wells Fargo.
These again?
Michael Corbett, CEO of Citigroup. Al Kelly, CEO of Visa. Michael Miebach, CEO of MasterCard.
This is an ad.
Noah Wilcox, CEO, Chairman of Grand Rapids State Bank. And we had numerous others also on the call. And I just appreciate them. We're way ahead of schedule, by the way. We're way ahead of schedule. The Paycheck Protection Program has been incredible. So based on the incredible success of the program, I'm announcing that I'll be asking Congress to provide an additional $250 billion for the Paycheck Protection, which will help keep Americans employed to facilitate a quick and full recovery. We're doing very well. We're looking very bipartisan. A lot of people want to do it, and the plan is amazing. You know, they're processing hundreds of thousands of loans, and this is the big banks that are doing it, the community banks. But the biggest banks right now in our country are doing it.
He doesn't understand the program, unfortunately.
They're doing it for a lot of reasons. One of them is they want to help people. The WHO, that's the World Health Organization, receives vast amounts of money from the United States, and we pay for a majority, a biggest portion of their money.
Not a majority, obviously.
And they actually criticized and disagreed with my travel ban at the time I did it, and they were wrong. They've been wrong about a lot of things, and they had a lot of information early, and they didn't want to. They seemed to be very China-centric. And we have to look into that. So we're going to look into it. We give a majority of the money that they get.
That can't be true.
And it's much more than the 58. $58 million is a small portion of what they've gotten over the years. Sometimes they get much more than that. Sometimes it's for programs that they're doing, and it's much bigger numbers. And if the programs are good, that's great as far as we're concerned. But we want to look into it. World Health Organization, because they really are, they called it wrong. They called it wrong. They missed the call. They could have called it months earlier. They would have known. And they should have known. And they probably did know. So
Trump was briefed
be
in
looking
December,
into
did
that very carefully. And we're going to put a hold on money spent to the WHO. We're going to put a very powerful hold on it. And we're going to see.
Powerful.
It's a great thing if it works. But when they call every shot wrong, that's no good. We're in the midst of a great national struggle, one that requires the shared sacrifice of all Americans. In recent weeks, it's been remarkable to see so many companies and organizations and individuals, like the banks that I just told you about, biggest banks in the world.
It's been great for the big banks.
They stepped up to help small business. They're big business, small business. The small business will someday be the big business. But the small business is 50% of our economic strength. People don't realize when you add them up, but they just rose to the occasion. Everybody's rising to the occasion. It's been incredible to watch. To honor and celebrate the extraordinary examples of patriotism and citizenship, I'm asking Americans to use the hashtag America Works Together.
Oh, God.
When sharing stories of how we're all working together, getting through this ordeal in a fashion that nobody would have ever thought possible. It's been incredible, and that's why the numbers are so far much better. We want to keep it that way. If you look at the original projections, if we did nothing, it would be disastrous. If we decided to do something, we closed
Remember,
it
this
down.
is the new game now, which is after saying there would be no deaths or very few deaths, now he says, if I ignored this altogether, we would have had 2 million deaths. But it's like, who would just ignore it altogether? It's an incredibly insane bar to set.
But we're looking to have far fewer deaths than originally thought. And I think we're heading in that direction, but it's too early to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it now because we just want to work. And I think that people are doing an incredible job. The doctors, the nurses, the firefighters, the police, all medical people, what they're doing, the bravery that they're displaying is just incredible. Every citizen should take immense pride in the selflessness and all of the courage and compassion of our people, the workers, the people that are working, and construction workers going into hospitals, knowing nothing about this problem other than it's dangerous, and they go in there to rebuild sections of hospitals, and you have people in really big trouble right next door. They know nothing about it. All they know is they're going to get it done. They're going to fix that wing so they can have more people in there. It's incredible. But this is a national spirit that won our independence and settled the frontier and explored the horizons of space, and that's what we're doing. I mean, this is all new territory. It unlocked the miracles of science, and we're doing that. I wish you could have heard the calls I had yesterday with these great companies that come up with cures to diseases, and the success they've had over the last 15 years is really amazing. So I just want to thank all of them. They're working very hard. They're working with UK right now, and the UK doctors, hopefully helping with their great prime minister. But these people are really tremendous signs of success are staring us right in the face. I think we're going to have something that's going to be great in terms of vaccines and in terms of everything else that they're doing. Just really helping us, helping the people of our country, and helping ultimately the people of the world. So I want to thank you all for being here. I will take some questions, and then I'm going to give it over to the Vice President, and they're going to go into great detail onto what we're doing and all of the successful supplies and medical equipment that we're getting. All of the ventilators, I've said it, but you can go over it in more detail if you'd like. But we're taking in and building thousands and thousands of ventilators, and they're very high quality. I said, you got to go for the quality, and these are quality companies doing it. So, because there is a big difference between a good ventilator and a not so good ventilator, Tony, right? We've seen that.
Oh, Tony just loves it.
Big difference. So we're
Tony's
going
thrilled
top
to be
of the
there.
line. Steve, please.
The acting Navy Secretary submitted his resignation today, Motley. Why did that become necessary, and what role did you have in this, sir?
Well, I had no role in it. I've heard, I don't know him, but I've heard he was a very good man. And the whole thing was a very unfortunate. The captain should not have written a letter. He didn't have to be Ernest Hemingway. He made a mistake, but he had a bad day. And I hate seeing bad things happen.
Oh, man, we're screwed.
But, you shouldn't be writing letters, and you're in the military. You're the captain of a great ship, and you shouldn't be writing letters and sending them to many people. And
right, you should be captaining.
then it gets out to the media. And, the question is, how did it get out to the media? So there's a lot of bad things happen there. And I had heard he did because he didn't want to cause any disturbance for our country. So that was because he wouldn't have had to resign. I would not have asked him. I don't know him. I didn't speak to him. But he did that, I think, just to end that problem. And I think in really many ways that was a very unselfish thing for him.
Trump has no
What
clue
should
what's going
happen
on.
now to Commander Crozier, who left?
Well, they're going to look at that. I think the Secretary of Defense, as you know, is Mark Esper, and he's very capable. And I think he's looking at that right now. They're going to just take it under regular Navy channels to see what they want to do. But he made a mistake, but he shouldn't have done that. And your secretary probably shouldn't have said quite what he said. He didn't have to resign, but he felt it would be better for the country. So I think it will end it quickly. Yes, please.
So, Mr. President, a couple on the economic front. The $250 billion that was added today, or will be added for the small business loan program, brings it to $600 billion in total. Do you think that figure is enough? Might there need to be more down the line?
You know, when you see hundreds of thousands of applications, don't forget.
I'm going to talk over this because I want to explain. The answer doesn't matter. The everyday saying, is this amount of money or that amount of money enough? The questions Trump calls nasty aren't nasty. When Trump tells someone they should be ashamed of themselves, it's usually a good question. But every day, do you think this is enough? Do you think that's enough? We really just don't know. And a lot of it is, do people actually get the money, or is it just announced?
Little companies, just like we're going to help the airlines and the big companies, we're going to help the little companies. And the banks are running. Nobody's equipped to do a thing like that, but the banks are equipped.
Right. Trump likes these questions
The banks
because
are
they're
doing
easy.
it. Big banks, small banks. We have many banks, community banks, and they're processing the loans, and they'll be able to watch it and make sure it's done properly.
Talk today, sir, as well about potentially reopening the economy in the upcoming weeks. You mentioned the other day about a potential economic task force. Can you give us some sort of update as to where
We're
that may or
thinking
may
about
not-
that, but we want to open up, and we want to get it open soon. That's why I think maybe we're getting to the very top of the curve. I spoke with Governor Cuomo, and he seems to think that he's getting close, and I think a lot of people think that a lot of places are getting close. We want to start hitting the downside, and I think we're going to be doing. This is going to be a very difficult week, however. This week will be a very difficult week because that's the most difficult week when you're at that top position, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
It does open up. What can the federal government do?
Well,
Because
the federal
because a lot
government
of
has
it-
done a lot, and it's going to do a lot. We want to. I really think that with the stimulus, we can be maybe even beyond. We're going to do perhaps infrastructure, which you wouldn't have gotten approved before, and now people are looking to do it. And the beauty is we're paying zero interest, or very close to zero interest. In some cases, we're paying actually zero, have no interest charge. And the dollar is very strong, and people are investing in the dollar. They want, the fact that we have the strong currency. We have the currency. Our currency is everything.
The dollar's the
And
best.
other companies, other countries want to be in our currency. So we're getting all of the investment wanting to come into the dollar. The dollar is the strength. The dollar is the whole ballgame. We have a strong dollar. Other currencies are going down, way, way down in some cases. You look at other countries.
This
I
is the
won't
guy who
mention.
called Michael Flynn in the middle of the night to ask, is a strong dollar good or bad for us, Mike?
And it's very hard for them. That
Mike said, I'm a military guy. Ask an economist.
currency is relatively now stronger than it ever was, or it was over the last few years relative to other countries. It's always relative to other countries, but our currency is very strong. So therefore, people want to invest. If we do a bond issue to do infrastructure, everybody wants a piece of that issue, even at zero interest. Yeah, please.
That's a real story,
You
by the
see
way.
these memos that reportedly Peter Navarro wrote back in January. When did you see them, and how does these memos sort of square with what you've often said, that nobody could have predicted this? It sounds like he was predicting.
I didn't see him, but I heard he wrote some memos talking about pandemic.
Talking about pandemic.
I didn't see him. I didn't look for him either. But that was
Right.
about the same time
So who's
as
he
I
writing
felt
for?
that we should do it. That was about the same time that I closed it down. I asked him about it just a little while ago because I read something.
He closed nothing. March 12th was the day of the China ban or Europe ban. Now I don't remember. I think Europe ban. January, he didn't close anything down then.
Of a pandemic. Nobody said it's going to happen, but there is a possibility. There always has been a possibility, but people wouldn't talk about it. But it was right about the time that I closed it down.
Wrong. That's a
And
lie.
interestingly, the World Health Organization was not in favor of us
New
closing it
scapegoat.
down. And if we didn't close it down, we would have lost hundreds of thousands more lives. So we did a good thing. Yeah.
So at the time, though, when Peter Navarro did circulate those memos, you were still downplaying the threat of coronavirus in the U.S. You were saying things like, "I think it's a problem that's going to go away within a couple of days."
It will go away.
You said within a couple of days the cases will be down to zero.
Well, the cases really didn't build up for a while, but you have to understand, I'm a cheerleader for this country.
Right.
I don't
I'm going
wanna
to just lie
create
and say everything's fine.
havoc and shock and everything else, but ultimately, when I was saying that, I'm also closing it down. I obviously was
Lie.
concerned about it because I closed down our country to China, which was heavily infected. I then closed it down to Europe. That's a big move, closing it down from China and then closing it down from Europe and then ultimately closing it down to the UK. So, and it was right about that time. But I'm not going to go out and start screaming, this could happen, this could happen.
That's what you do to protect people.
Again, as president, I think a president has to be a cheerleader for their country. But at the same time I'm cheerleading, I'm also closing down a very highly infected place, specifically
so
the location,
this is
as you
lying, not taking responsibility, and just being wrong about what a president should do all in one.
We closed it down to all of Europe. Those were big moves, and it was right about that time.
Sir, just a quick follow-up, Mr. President.
Did you just learn about this today?
Say?
You learned about the memo today?
I read about it maybe a day ago, 2 days ago.
Do you feel like someone among your staff or Peter Navarro himself should have told you about the memo earlier?
No, it was a recommendation. It was a feeling that he had.
Trump's saying it's reasonable for memos to be written, but no one gives them to him or tells him about them. That's what Trump's arguing right now.
Even being discussed, we had a meeting where there were a lot of people. Most people felt they should not close it down, that we shouldn't close down to China, but I felt we had to do it. And that was at almost the exact same time as the memo.
That's
if
a huge
you
lie.
had read the memo at the time, how would that have changed the steps you took or the
I
statements
think
that
it
you
changed
made?
because I did. I basically did what the memo said, and the
bad
memo
question.
was, you know, the memo was pretty good memo from the standpoint that he took, I guess. I didn't see it yet.
He was saying that the U.S. warning that the U.S. could lose trillions of dollars and millions of lives.
Well, you're not going to lose millions of lives, but you'll lose plenty of money. But I couldn't have done it any better because it was about the same time, and I closed it down to China.
Right. He didn't need to see the memos. He did everything right.
And confidence in him, in Peter Navarro.
Of course I maintain. He wrote a memo, and he was right. And I haven't seen the
just
memo.
ignored it.
I'll see it later on after this.
Haven't seen it.
But it didn't matter whether I saw it or not because I acted on my own. I guess I had the same instincts as Peter. Peter's a smart guy, and he's a good guy.
Pretzel.
And he's done a wonderful job. But he wrote a memo, and I guess he talked to various people about it. But ultimately, I did what the memo, more or less what the memo said, just about the time the memo came out. I closed it down. I took a lot of heat. The World, Health Organization was very much against.
This is
they didn't like
actually
it.
incoherent.
They actually put out statements about it. In all fairness to Joe Biden, he called me xenophobic. Like, I don't like China. I like China. I like the Chinese people are phenomenal people.
He loves Chinese food.
So I was called xenophobic. I was called racist. How could I do a thing like this? Now, since then, Joe said that he was wrong, and he said that I was right. But I closed it down, and I was called names by some of the morning show hosts who don't have a clue what they're talking about. They're not smart people. And I was called all sorts of names when I closed it down to China. Now they try and hide that, the tape of them saying terrible things. But that was a great decision. If I didn't do it, if I didn't do that, we would have had hundreds of thousands more people dying. Yeah, please.
You talked a lot about the WHO, and I was wondering, Dr. Fauci had discussed them earlier, so if I could ask you a question about...
Well, he respects the WHO, and I think that's good. And he's
Again,
worked
Trump
with
doesn't
them for a
want
long
Fauci to
time.
answer questions about
But
that.
they did give us some pretty bad play calling.
They've also, I think, given lots of countries in the world accurate coronavirus testing that's been central to your guys' data modeling. And so
Well, that I don't know. I can only say that with regard to us, they're taking a lot of heat because they didn't want the borders closed. They called it wrong. They really called, I would say, every aspect of it wrong. Until
the funding freeze
I'm
does
not happy about it. Look, we fund it. Take a look. I mean, go through step by step. They said there's no big deal, there's no big problem, there's no nothing. And then ultimately, when I closed it down, they actually said that I made a mistake in closing it down, and it turned out to be right. But at the
Totally
time,
incoherent.
they did that. So we're just going to take a look at it. We fund it, and they seem to be. I said recently in social media, I said they seem to be very China-centric. That's a nice way of saying it, but they seem to be very China-centric. And they seem to err always on the side of China. And we fund it, so I want to look into it. Yes, please.
Thanks. A quick follow-up on that. So is the time to freeze funding to the WHO during a pandemic?
No, maybe not. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but we're going to look at it.
You did say that.
We give a tremendous point, and I said we're going to look at it. We're going to investigate it. We're going to look at it.
Didn't he
But
say
we
they're
will
doing
look
it?
at ending
Could have sworn he
funding.
said they're doing it.
Yeah, because you know what? They called it wrong, and if you look back over the years even, they're very much, everything seems to be very biased toward China. That's not right.
I wanted to follow up. You talked about African Americans and how they've been disproportionately affected by the coronavirus.
Seems to be, unfortunately.
Do you plan on requiring the CDC, any federal agencies or state agents, public places doing tests and private companies doing tests to collect that data on the race of the people being tested and the race of the people being treated and the outcomes?
Well, we're just seeing tremendous,
He's not answering,
evidence that African Americans are affected at a far greater percentage
Question is collecting
number
race testing data.
than other citizens of our country, because we're dealing with our country. Now we're looking at it from a worldwide standpoint. Tony Fauci is looking at it very strongly, but these numbers have started to come out, and they're very strong, and they're pretty obvious.
Question was about
You will
testing.
release that. You will release that
Sue, would you like to
publicly?
talk about that for a second, please?
Yeah, get him out of there.
One of the things that we're going to be doing with our Medicare data is to do that analysis. We're going to look back at the last month or so and look at, related type illnesses going forward. We now have a code for coronavirus, so we can actually stratify by demographic information, so we can look at race as a factor. We can also look at what the underlying health issues are as well. So we'll be providing that data very shortly, but we will be doing that analysis.
We're working on that very hard. This is something that's come up over the last, I hadn't heard this, and then over the last few days, this has come up more and more.
We've actually known about it for a couple weeks.
I don't mean by a little bit. I mean many times. It's a real thing. Now, we want to
If
find
Trump just learned something, he imagines everybody just learned it.
vaccines, because that will solve everybody's problem. But why is it that the African American community is so much, numerous times more than everybody else? And we want to find the reason to it. And
it's called poverty and
Dr. Fauci,
structural
Seema,
bias.
both of them and others are working on this. And they're going to have very
Structural
good, I would
inequality.
say over the next, in less than a week, I think you're going to have very good statistics. Couple of
Do
days.
something
2 days.
specifically aimed at those communities that are being hard hit, those black communities
Well,
that are
we're
being hard
helping
hit.
them a lot. But what's happening is we're trying to find out why is it that it's 3 and 4 times. Now,
We know
maybe
why.
that's not going to be the final number, but why is it 3 or 4 times?
Dear God, what an idiot.
More so for the black community as opposed to other people. It doesn't make sense, and I don't like it. And we're going to have
Well,
statistics.
where
of-
are the good hospitals, my friend? What kind of food do you buy if you are economically disadvantaged? And is that food likely to create pre-existing comorbidity? I mean, it's like, this is a whole class, right? He knows
Thank
nothing.
you.
Who are you with? Who?
With Hearst Newspapers, I'm the print cooler today. Thank you. Some banks are only providing Paycheck Protection Program loans to clients with whom they have existing banking relationships.
True.
And you spoke to banking CEOs today. I wonder if
I
you'll
did.
you'll ask them, these lenders, to accept applications from all small businesses,
Sure.
not just the businesses with whom they have existing
Okay, they'll be doing that.
relationships.
But we're also working with small community banks, so they will be doing that. It's a question I've already spoken about. I mean, in many cases, they have long-term relationships with thousands of companies. I was amazed to see how many, you saw the number of applications. It's hundreds of thousands. It's a lot of work. But I did ask that question, and they are working on that.
Thank you. And my second question from a colleague is Congressman Jerry Connolly, a Democrat from Northern Virginia, told the local DC CBS station that you personally requested the CARES Act stimulus bill be stripped of $25 billion for the Postal Service. Connolly claims that
That's true.
unless the USPS gets that $25 billion, the agency will be run out of money by June.
Correct.
He accuses you of hastening the demise of the Postal Service. Could you
Well, the
respond
biggest,
to that, please?
I'm the reason the Postal Service has lost billions of dollars every year for many, many years. I'm the demise.
They have to
this is the new
pre-fund
one.
75 years
I'm
of
now the
retirement,
demise
that's
of
why.
the Postal Service. I'll tell you who's the demise of the Postal Service. So these internet companies that give their stuff to the Postal Service, packages, and I don't know why they're not, I don't run the Postal Service. You have a group of people, so-called independent people, and they run it. But these packages are, they lose money every time they deliver a package for Amazon or these other internet companies, these other companies that deliver.
Oh,
they
boy.
drop everything in the post office. They say, you deliver it. And if they'd raise the prices by actually a lot, then you'd find out that the post office could make money or break even. But they don't do that, and I'm trying to figure out why. These are independent boards. They were appointed by other administrations. They're sort of long-term. They're there for a long time. And I've been talking to them also. You can look it up. Take a look. They have to raise the prices to these companies that walk in and drop thousands of packages on the floor of the post office and say, deliver it. And they make money, but the post office gets killed.
Can you imagine?
Okay? So they ought to do that, and we're looking into it, and we've been pushing them now for over a year. And you know that because you've seen the stories. I'm pushing them. It's not fair for them to these great, wonderful modern companies. They walk into our old post office with all these routes that could never be built. You could never build them. They go into areas that you could never do. And they say, here, deliver this. And they lose a lot of money per package. And they have to raise their prices, but this Postal Commission doesn't do it. Now, we just got a chance to appoint a couple of people onto the commission, as I understand it, and that's good. But they have to raise their prices, otherwise they're just going to lose a lot of money. And tell your Democrat friend that he ought to focus on that, because if he focused on that, he could truly save the post office. Post office has been losing billions of dollars a year for many, many years. And have him take a look at that, because that's the way to solve the problem.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you so much. Mr. President, you say this week will be very painful, very difficult, but a few weeks ago you say this was just like a flu. What have you learned?
I didn't say 2 weeks ago it was a flu.
The question is, Mr. President, what have you learned that you could offer as an advice to foreign leaders who still are skeptical about this pandemic and who are against social distancing? What is your advice? What have you learned?
I said it was just like a flu. So the worst pandemic we ever had in this world was a flu. And it was called, you know that, it was in 1917, 1918. And anywhere from 50 to 100 million people died. That was a flu.
Now, by percentage, was that the worst?
You could say that I said it was a flu, or you could say the flu is nothing to sneeze at.
Then what can you offer as an advice to foreign leaders who are skeptical about this pandemic and who are against social distancing?
Well, I think there aren't too many of them. If you look throughout the world, and everyone, just about everyone that has practiced that is now closing up.
I think it's a Brazilian reporter. That might be the implied thing.
Now, they talk about Sweden, but Sweden is suffering very gravely. You know that, right? Sweden did that. The herd, they call it the herd. Sweden's suffering very, very badly. It's a way of doing it, but everybody has been watching everybody else. And so far, almost every country has done it the way we've done it. We've chosen to do it. If we didn't do it that way, we would have lost hundreds of thousands of more people. Okay.
Mr. President, there's voting going on today in Wisconsin. There are reports of thousands of people waiting in hours-long lines as they've had to weigh their own personal health and their civic responsibility. Do you think that the Supreme Court was right in its decision that voting should go forward, and the absentee extension should not take place?
Yeah. Look, the Supreme Court, of course they were right, because what the Democrats wanted, and you know what this happened. I supported a man named Justice Kelly, who's Daniel Kelly, highly respected justice. And I supported him just the other day, social media. I know of him. He's just a fantastic justice. And I endorsed him. And as soon as I endorsed him, they wanted to move the election. They didn't want to move the election. As soon as I endorsed him, the Wisconsin Democrats say, oh, let's move the election to 2 months later. They didn't mind having the election until I endorsed him, which is very interesting. And now they talk about, oh, safety, safety. Well, it was 15 minutes after I put out an endorsement that they said we have to move the election. They didn't want to move the election before that. The other thing they wanted to do, which is crazy, at the end of the election, they wanted to have 1 week for proxies to come in or mail ballots. Now, mail ballots, they cheat, okay? People cheat. Mail ballots are a very dangerous thing for this country because they're cheaters.
Yeah.
They go and collect them. They're fraudulent in many cases. You got to vote. And they should have voter ID, by the way. You want to really do it right. You have voter ID. But the Democrats, and this was turned over in the Supreme Court yesterday, I give great credit to the court, they actually didn't want to have an election day. They wanted to have election day, and then a week after election day, you choose all these ballots come in, these mailed ballots come in. The mailed ballots are corrupt, in my opinion, and they collect them and they get people to go in and sign them, and then
Mostly Republicans do the fraud,
forgeries
yeah.
in many cases. It's a horrible thing. And so what happened is the Democrats in Wisconsin, they had no problem with the election being today until I endorsed the Republican candidate,
That is
Justice
untrue.
Kelly, Daniel Kelly. And as soon as I endorsed him, they went crazy. They went crazy. And you know that's true. And now all of a sudden, because go back 2 weeks, go back 2 days, they didn't want to move the election. They were having the election. They were fine because they thought
What
they
a
were going to win the
liar.
election. Then I endorsed him, and all of a sudden they think they're not. Now I understand there are lines that go back a long way. I hope they're going to vote for Justice Kelly. Okay.
Mr. President, do you think that Americans don't choose?
No.
President, with millions of pills of hydroxychloroquine donated, is there a plan or system in place to track the potential
Yeah.
side effects?
Well, you saw
There
the
have been
representative.
serious harm, so is there a plan to
is there a
track the
plan?
side effects?
The
outside
side
of
effects.
clinical
The side effects are the least of it. You have people dying all over the place, and
Oh, no.
generally the side effects are really with the Z-Pak, having to do with the heart. The Z-Pak, that's the antibiotic, not with the hydroxychloroquine.
Oh, my
so,
God.
A woman last night, I
Lie.
watched her on one of the shows, good show, Laura, and she was, she thought she was dead. She was a representative from
She thought she was dead
Michigan.
literally during the filming of the show.
She was just in horrible shape for 12 days, 14 days. She thought she was dead. I think she said that her doctor said she's, it's going to be very tough. She saw me talking about this, and she asked her husband to go to the drugstore. Now, this is a Democrat representative, a person that, perhaps wouldn't be voting for me. I think she'll be voting for me now, even if she's a Democrat, even if she's a Democrat representative. And
So
they
Trump is
went
acting
to
like he's the only one talking about chloroquine. We started talking about it 2 weeks early.
doses. We have, I think, 29 million.
She has Trump to thank because a doctor made the right decision?
She asked her husband, she said, please go out. I'm not going to make it. Please, you have to hear her story. Please go out, get it. He went at 10 o'clock in the evening to the drugstore. He got it. He gave it to her. Now, it's I don't say it works like this at all. 4 hours later, she awoke.
Won a weightlifting
and
competition.
She said, I feel better. And then shortly thereafter, she felt great. This is a woman that thought she was going to die. She's a Democrat representative,
Oh my
highly
God.
respected woman.
This is dangerous.
African-American woman. I don't know if you saw it. As you asked a question about African-American, she was an
Did
African-American
he just point at a
woman.
black reporter? I
A
think
great
he did.
woman. Her
He just
manner
pointed at a
of
black reporter,
speaking,
I'm pretty sure.
the way she told the story was beautiful. I asked my husband to go and get it. He got it. She is now okay. She was interviewed last night on television. And she thanked me. She thanked me even in a tweet. She said, I want to thank President Trump. He saved my life. Look, I don't say that happens
How
with
does the
everybody.
husband go get something at the pharmacy that is not like it needs to be? How is this? How is the story coherent?
Please. If you're in trouble, if you're going to die, and you're going to die, you're not going to die from this pill. Now, there could be some side effects, but the side effects is really more so from the
track
Z-Pak.
those side effects?
No. Doctors have to recommend it. I want doctors. I'm not saying I'm
He's
not a
not
doctor.
even understanding the question.
I'm just
It's
saying we hear
toxic.
great results.
This guy's horrible.
And some people say, let's go to a laboratory, let's test it for a couple of years. And no, we got people dying in this country and all over the world right now,
Wow.
not in a couple of years. They're dying as we speak. There are people dying, and I really think it's a great thing to try, just based on what
Nothing.
I know. Again, I'm not a doctor.
We know.
And I say, get a physician's approval. And they have physicians in these hospitals, great physicians.
We know.
great
We know. That's where the
physicians.
doctors are.
They also say it's good for the hospital workers to take them, that it's
Prophylactic use. Oh my God.
keeps it away, keeps it out of your system. I don't
Totally
know.
unsubstantiated.
But there's a lot of good examples, and we have a
He got that from
1,500 case study going in New York, and it's almost complete. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Can you?
But I appreciate that woman. She was great. You have to see it to believe it. The
Right.
way
And she's black. Did
she
he mention
spoke,
that?
it was
Black
like
woman.
a miracle. And this was not a fan of mine.
Right.
But she's a fan of mine now, and I'm very honored by it. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Can you talk about your decision to remove Glenn Fine from the Pandemic Response Accountability Committee? And
all right, guys, so on that note,
move...
as I mentioned, I can only be here for part of this because we are streaming again tonight. So we're going to wrap here. This will continue. You decide whether you want to continue tolerating it. But I will be back with another stream shortly before 9 p.m. Eastern time with the results from the Wisconsin primary and other local elections as well.